Welcome back, my duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and today we've got a really goofy tech deck that was provided to us. So I'd like to take a quick second. Thank you, Phil, for submitting this deck list. And clearly, I need to go buy 3 cards because I only had them in my Speed Duel collection. But for the purposes of just showing off today's deck, like, it's totally fine. What we're going to be playing is we're going to be playing a kind of like a weird budgeted OTK-ish type deal. So just to give you guys like some flavor, the main character is going to be this Meteor Rush Monochroid. The way that this guy works is during the battle phase, if you have 5 or more attacks that have been declared during this turn as quick effects, this guy can be special summoned from the hand. So that's pretty awesome. It means we can Field Swarm. Second, you can only use this effect once per turn, which is the special summon, blah, 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 blah. If this card does battle, it gains 1,000 attack for every attack that was already declared this turn. So this is like one of the few times like a Yu-Gi-Oh player might need some D&D dice. So let's get into how that's going to work. The first card you're going to be playing is you're going to be playing 3 copies of this Abyss Actor Liberty Dramatis. Now, we are not playing this for any reason outside of this ability in the Pendulum Scales. This will always be activated as a spell card. The only thing you need to know is when a monster declares an attack, you may discard 1 card, special summon this to the opponent's field. You may use this effect once per turn. The other things that you need to understand is that it is a quick 1,500 point card. We're going to use that, and that is going to not only set us up with a target for attacks, but this is going to set us up with an outlet in case our opponent didn't play a face-up monster. This is going to allow us to kind of just cheat through a lot of the moves that we have to make. Moving forward, we have some tech pieces. We are going to be playing some Kaiju, and the correct amount of Kaiju for this is going to be 4. So he's got 2 Gemasiel, 1 Juzukuru, and 1 Thunder King Kaiju. So 2 at 22, 2 at 33. And this makes sense later with the spells. And then, of course, we have our main boy, the Meteor Rush Monochroid. And then we have the entire, like, crazy chain that gets us through stuff. So one of them is the attack monster Nova Summoner. So for those of you who maybe are not as familiar with this older school card, when this is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, special summon a light fairy from the deck, 1,500 or less from the deck. If Sanctuary in the Sky is Sanctuary in the Sky is face up on the field, you could special summon a Parshath instead. We do not care about Parshath this time. Instead, what we are attempting to do with Nova Summoner is to start a chain of attacks. Now, to keep the chain of attacks, it does not matter where we start with these first 2. Nova Summoner can get us into Shining Angel. Shining Angel could get us into Nova Summoner. You do want to run through all your Nova Summoners before you finish running through your Shining Angels, because it leads us into the final attack monster. Again, Shining Angel, when destroyed by battle and goes to the graveyard, allows you to special summon a light attribute, 1,500 attack or less. And again, this is why the Dramaticist was so good for us, because it means that since these are both 1,400 points, we're going to take 100 points per attack. We're not going to like KO ourselves in the attempt to get to this Monochroid. But this should count for 6 of those 5 attacks already, allowing his attack to be 7,000 by the time he attacks. But we need a little more power. So we're going to borrow my UFO Roids from Speed Duel. Now, UFO Roid, when destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, allows you to special summon a machine type, which Monochroid is. So, realistically, we hope that you have a Monochroid already in hand with the ability to, no matter what, at the end, get another one. With those 2 punches being essentially for game, because, again, this would be 9 attacks. This one would be 10,000. Minus the 15 is 8,500. So realistically, if we can get all 9 of these attacks off and resolve a UFO into Monochroid, we've got this. So that's good stuff. Last two monsters we're going to use, they're really just for picking our field spell. So we're going to have 2 copies of Zeradius, Herald of Heaven. We just want to go ahead and grab the Sanctuary in the Sky, and that's because battle damage to a controller of fairy-type monsters from battles involving it becomes 0, which means we actually limit how much damage we're taking while it's Novas and Shining Angels, which does help. Guys, quick notes, pause, screenshot, whatever you need. I'll be right back with the spell traps. Alright, now that we're back with the spells and the traps, it's just obvious good stuff. A lot of stuff that's going to help us, like just interrupt the opponent or break back rows. So, a Feather Duster, easy pick. 2 Lightning Storms, easy pick. 3 Pots of Extravagance. You will use a 15-card extra deck. I do not have one built because it is entirely for throwaways. Whatever you want to throw away, that's what you put in there. So if you want to be goofy, you want to play something like the new stuff, you want to play some of the old stuff, you want to play just your favorite 15, just this way they're with you, you do whatever you want. Extra copy Terraforming. This just brings it up to like 6 copies between this Zeradius and the Sanctuary in the Sky. We've already explained Sanctuary in the Sky. And then before we get to the trap, we got another cool piece in here. We're going to be using the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. So the way this works, and again, especially if your opponent has already built up a board, destroy as many monsters on the field as possible, then special summon and attack 2 Kaiju with different names, 1 on each side of the field. They cannot change their battle positions and must attack if able. During your main phase, except the turn is to send to the graveyard, banish this, add a Kaiju from the deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 of these per turn. So, again, if the opponent has a huge board built, this is actually a very budget board breaker. If it gets through, we can go ahead, we can take care of everything. And then again, we could set up the Dramaticist and set up either Shining Angel or Nova Summoner to go for the gold. And that just lets us get into games. Last 3 cards. 3 copies of the Infinite Impermanence. So again, just a lot of good techie stuff here in the spell traps. Not a whole lot of it. We really just need to run through the monsters of the deck. We really just need to let Monochroid get his power up by just throwing as many fists as we can before we can no longer. So this deck is fun. This deck is like all inclusive. I expect that this would make a good splash at your locals. If nobody there has played this type of strategy yet, you'll probably take a few people by surprise. It's just a really goofy, fun deck to play. And then realistically speaking, a lot of this deck could be downgraded into Common Charity as well. Not that we need to make that discussion, but for sure, like the Interrupted Kaijus come as common. Pot of Extravagance comes as common. Terraforming comes as common. Lightning Storm's not super needed. There are other options you could take out for that. Same thing with Feather Duster and Imperm. And then as I look through the monsters again real quick, I put in Ultra Gameciels. I've got commons. And then I think Zeradius is a common as well. As far as what you can get. So this is today's deck. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Over the next 2 days, we're going to be doing some stuff with the draft format again. I didn't want anybody to think that we'd already forgotten about draft. We got a cool deck that's kind of Halloween-ish themed. And I'd love to show it to you guys. So if you guys got the time, go ahead and hopefully we'll see you guys again next time. Later.